Hello guys, welcome to a new video. I didn't really expect to do this video and I'm so wound up. I can't believe what's going on. Right, Tommy Robinson, right, appeal has been cancelled. Can you believe that? Cancelled. It was due to take place on the 10th of July, right? 4 days before the march in London regarding Free Tommy Robinson. Obviously there's been lots of demonstrations across the world and I am so wound up I cannot believe what I've just heard. So Ezra Levant from Rebel Media have put it out there. I put a copy of what he said at the end of this little segment of video that I'm going to rant about. I do apologise, I'm not going to edit this. I just cannot believe what's going on. So he's been arrested, thrown into the court with virtually no time to create a defence. Not even got the chance to see his own lawyer. The judge hasn't reviewed all the information and only watched 10 minutes of his live stream, because Tommy was live streaming, if you don't already know, but you probably do, that he was basically commenting outside of a court regarding some rape gangs that were going off. And he really wants to highlight what's going off. And then soon after he was arrested, sent to court, then sent to prison, all in about 5 to 8 hours. The judge hasn't reviewed his full live stream of 70 minutes, only watched 10 minutes. The judge watched him doing the live stream outside and was a witness to what was going off. So he should have excluded himself out of the decision-making process, right? Because it's a conflict of interest, and another judge should have made that decision because he already had an invested emotional mindset against Tommy because he was so angry. How can you be impartial when you're angry at someone? You can't be. It's not professional, it's not right, so he's biased already. Anyway, he sentences Tommy, he goes off to prison. Everyone's worried about possibly him getting killed in prison, right? He gets transferred to another prison. The location of that is a bit dubious. We don't know the reality of where he's been sent. Possibly, Ezra doesn't want people to know where he's gone, because maybe they may do a demonstration out of the prison. A good guess is either Leicester or possibly Honley near Warwickshire. There has been suggestions that there's a large Muslim population. It's more than likely, I think that information might be a bit wrong and it might be closer to 7.4%, but his wing might be largely Muslim. Now, if you've got a large ethnicity, right, in one wing and you put just the one white person in there, there's going to be major problems. And obviously everyone's concerned about his welfare, his safety. Now they've cancelled his appeal that was due to happen on the 10th. Why would you do this? Now Ezra Levant has insinuated that the Crown Court needed more time to prepare the case. I believe different to that. And I'll tell you why. I believe they're trying to get as much time as possible for him in that jeopardy. The more time you're exposed to high risk and jeopardy, the more chance of you being hurt or killed. That's what I believe. And I just cannot believe how you can cancel someone's planned appeal. You know, maybe reschedule it, okay, fair enough. The judge is Leveson. Obviously you may remember him. He's one of the highest judges in the UK, and he was responsible for the Leveson inquiry, if you remember that. So everything was planned, but for some reason the prosecution has decided we need some time to prepare our case. Like Tommy being in prison for a month and a half, is that enough time for you to create a case for the information you have to hand? I suspect that your case is very weak and you're trying to figure out loopholes in the law to keep Tommy in prison. That's what I think. It's unbelievable what's going on with Tommy Robinson right now. Now, you might not agree with what he says, you know, with the fact he hates it. He doesn't hate Islam, he just nitpicks certain things he thinks wrong with it. And not everyone is against, you know, Muslims and Islam and all that. But what is so frustrating is that he's been victimised. Even now, Muslims have come out, right, and defended him and said, listen, what happened to him is wrong. And all the things I've just discussed about what's happened with Tommy Robinson, right, as I've said in other videos, other people, right, have committed contempt of court, right? Now, the biggest sentence that we have been able to see through various documentation, Israel Levant actually looked into this, so here's a personal thank you for that. Someone committed contempt of court, right, in 2 different court hearings, a total of 26 times, and was awarded 4 months in prison. There was another person who was let off completely, and they said to him, just don't do it again. So it's really a lot of unfairness here, isn't there? Clearly, I'm not going to say Tommy Robinson did what he did was completely right, because obviously it's highlighting what's going on with these rape gangs, and I think it needs to be highlighted because there is a lot of evidence out there that suggests the police is doing cover-ups. What makes me think this? Well, there's a lot of police officers that have come out, right, and they've actually stated that a lot of bullying and harassment to keep these things quiet in the internal police force structure is quite extensive. And many police officers were bullied, harassed, they were threatened with their children being taken away from them, not being able to pay their mortgage and losing their house, losing their job, and they had to go to employment tribunals to fight things and get MPs involved. So it does seem to me that the political element of the police is being used by the establishment as a weapon, really, to silence people. And that's what we're talking about in this video. Freedom of speech is very important. It's the pinnacle of society as a democratic society, that you have the freedom to say what you want. Because if you think about the times of Germany, obviously World War II, the Nazis, obviously after that you had the Cold War, then you had obviously Vietnam, and you could go on and on with very small dictators in the Far East, such as what you had with Saddam in Iraq. And obviously you've got Syria as well. And what I'm trying to say in this video is, those people, those organisations tried to stop freedom of speech. They silenced people, they killed people, they murdered people, they put people in prison. Just think of Nelson Mandela. He was in prison for a long time due to South Africa's apartheid. So what I'm trying to get in this video and try and discuss is that there seems to be a massive cover-up of freedom of speech that talks on the right. If you're on the left or the centre, you can say pretty much what you want. However, if you start saying something which is politically not correct, and the establishment doesn't like it, it's not a globalist view, they will shut you down. They will not allow you to have your say. You cannot say what you want to. They will throw hate speech at you. And it's wrong, because the Magna Carta, the First Amendment, Second Amendment in America, right, was set up so you had the freedom to express yourself, tell people how you feel. And I just feel that we're getting to a point where you can be silenced by anyone in the establishment, in the police, the establishment seem to use their arm, and the arm is the police, and they will shut you up and send you to prison. So Tommy Robinson has been silenced. He's been sent to prison. He's not had access to his lawyers. He hasn't even had the capacity and ability to fight this in court. They've cancelled his appeal. What more can you do to a person? You know, if you think about how he was treated before, and you've done your research and you know Tommy Robinson, you will know that at 4 AM he was woken up by the police. His family was scared shitless, basically. And he had to obviously go to court for breach of contempt of court, because he was covering, he's become a journalist, obviously, thanks to Rebel Media. And he was covering these rape gang trials that were going off. And obviously he's done it again. Now, I just want to point it out in this video. Nigel Farage did briefly talk about Tommy Robinson, right? And he's basically keeping Tommy Robinson at arm reach. But there is one thing he did say that was positive, and that was about the gagging clause. So when Tommy was arrested, right, the media weren't allowed to talk about what happened to him. Now, forgive me for saying this, but did not Stalin silence journalists like that? Throw them in prison and they would disappear. They may die in prison. They may starve to death in prison. I'm not saying that he may starve to death in prison, but the eye of the people, the eyes of the people are watching the government right now, and they're watching what will happen to Tommy. Now trust me, if Tommy Robinson dies in prison, there will be such massive demonstrations that even maybe violence, you know, there will be riots. It will damage the democratic makeup of the parties in this country if that happened, because no one would trust the Conservatives for definite. And I can see these new parties that are coming about. Obviously UKIP is trying to revive itself with Barton. Obviously Anne-Marie Walters, I think she's called, has set up First Britain, and I have no doubt that new parties may come out. And if Tommy survives, and I really hope he does, and if he watches this, you know, all credit to you, mate. You're doing things that a lot of us are probably too scared to say and do, because we don't want to be labelled as a far right, horrible, Nazi, racist, you know, you name it, Islamophobe people or person. But I feel that we all need to suggest to Tommy, if he does come out of this somehow, to set up a political party and get into politics and see if he can make a change, and get people to vote for him. Because with the media coverage Tommy's recently got, he will be a big player in politics if he can focus and channel all his skills into doing that. Maybe he may not want to do that and he wants to stick doing to his journalism, and that's fine. It's, you know, it's up to him if he wants to do that. But the only way I see that freedom of speech can be protected and these hate laws we can get rid of them is to create a new party that can challenge the two big ones, the Conservatives and Labour, and come up with a possibility of developing a new structure of politics in this country, and then get rid of all this racism rubbish, all these rules and regulations that we complicated our lives with, and make it simple, straightforward, using basic common sense, and protect the vulnerable. You know, we want to protect different cultures, we want to protect people with disabilities, but we want to do it in a fair way, and we don't want to start shutting people up just because they talk about a subject that we don't like. And that's another thing I'm going to talk about. You should have the right to criticise anything, providing it's not too hateful. You know, there's nothing wrong with criticising the Bible. There's nothing wrong criticising other religions. But if we do criticise other religions, suddenly we are seen as a horrible, nasty person. And society shouldn't be like this. I know I'm getting away from the subject matter, because obviously I wanted to do this video about Tommy Robinson. It's not fair what's happening to him. So, again, if you can support Tommy Robinson and help him in any way financially, please do so. I will put the link here again, which is, I think it's save.tommy.com. And, you know, donate and help him in his cause for justice. At this moment in time, I'm at a loss of words what to say, really. So, hopefully I didn't bore you too much. Here comes the segment regarding what Ezra Levant from the Rebel Media has said. Have a listen, and I'll see you later.
This is Ezra Levant for the Rebel.media. I have just received word from Tommy Robinson's family of some shocking news. Shocking but not surprising. Let me read to you the message I received moments ago. They have pulled his appeal on July 10th. The state says they are not ready, unquote. Can you imagine that? Tommy Robinson has an appeal on July 10th. The judge has been selected. Lord Justice Brian Levson, literally the most senior judge in all the criminal courts of the United Kingdom. The courtroom was selected, courtroom 5. The time was set, 10 a.m. Tommy's lawyers, who have been hired 2 weeks ago, are ready. They've been working furiously. July 10th was going to be the hearing, and now, today, the state says, we're not ready. So Tommy can rot in solitary confinement a little bit longer until they're ready. Not ready. Tommy was sentenced on May 25th. That'll be a month and a half from his sentencing to July 10th. They're not ready. The Crown Prosecution Service of the United Kingdom is the largest law firm in the United Kingdom. They have more lawyers than any other firm. They're not expert in the law of contempt. They need more time. That is a damnable lie. What's so frustrating about that is that everyone else is ready. Justice Levson is ready. Tommy's lawyers are ready, even though they've only been on the file for 2 weeks. But the state is not ready, so Tommy can wait a little bit longer. You know what's so outrageous here is this exquisite demand for due process. Where was it on May 25th when Tommy was hauled off the streets, had a 12-minute hearing, and was dispatched to prison within hours? Where was the delay for Tommy Robinson to prepare properly? Where was the delay for him to meet with his own lawyers and prepare a defense? Tommy had to be whisked into prison within minutes, but the state can take its luxurious time while Tommy rots. This is outrageous. This is what Tommy would call a stitch-up. I was a little bit concerned about Justice Levson because he's a little bit political, but I thought he's a senior judge, he's a sober-minded man. I think we're in good hands. I thought to myself, little did I know that the UK version of the deep state, or whomever it is, said, make him wait a little bit longer. And there's no possible explanation. If you've read Tommy's book, Enemy of the State, you will learn how the establishment rigs the rules and violates the concept of the rule of law. To use Tommy's phrase, to stitch him up every time. And I always rolled my eyes a bit. I thought, Tommy, really? Yeah, really. And the entire world has learned today that Tommy Robinson is indeed a political prisoner. And when Tommy was ready, and the judge was ready, and the court was ready, the goddamn Crown Prosecution Service said, no, we'll let you rot a little bit longer. I am outraged by this, and so should you be. Whether or not you like Tommy Robinson, you must acknowledge that the rule of law no longer is the rule of law in the United Kingdom. I am furious. There are only two things I know to do about this. One is to write Tommy Robinson a letter in prison. You can do that from email@prisoner.com. And two, help fund Tommy's lawyers. And you can do that by going to SaveTommy.com. We're authorized by the family to crowdfund for it. I'm outraged. I don't know what else to say other than this is an atrocious moment for the country that gave the world the Magna Carta. For the Rebel.media, I'm Ezra Levant. This is outrageous. And I'm not even a Brit, and I'm outraged. If I was living in the United Kingdom, I would be beside myself right now for the state of my country. If you want to follow this story, go to SaveTommy.com.